Hey there, Calc folks. It's Fred Sexton. I'm your Calculus 2 instructor this semester. You can call me Professor Sexton or Professor S or just even Fred if you'd like. What I want to do here today is kind of put together this little video introduction to the course and kind of show you a few things that you're going to expect this semester and kind of run down some different aspects of the course with you. Um, so, um, One of the big places you're going to work this semester is on Blackboard. If I bring up some of the links we're going to want to pay attention to, Blackboard is going to be one that we use quite often. You can just go to blackboard.lc.edu, right? And when you do hop on the Blackboard, let me go ahead and log off here real quick. When you first log on the Blackboard, it's going to look something like this, where right in the middle it's going to say Lewis and Clark Login. All right. If you click on that login button, it will take you to the login screen where you are going to have to log in with your LC BlazerNet credentials. Typically, that's your email address and some password that you've set up with the college. And if you're uncertain of any of that and need some help, you can always contact the help desk down here. All right. I'm going to go ahead and sign in, and once you do sign in, you're going to see a list of your classes here under the Fall 2020 semester, right in the middle of this introduction page, or the home page for Blackboard. In that list, you will see all of the courses that are using Blackboard this semester. Here's your course. You will see this MATH172 Section 01, Calculus and Analytical Geometry. That is your course. Currently, I don't have it available, but by the time you get this video, I will have that open for you, and it will be available with some of the first weeks of material here. So let me go ahead and click on that, and when you click on that, it will bring you in here to your notification page, folks. This is your course notification page. If you ever need to get back here, that is this link on the Blackboard menu bar, right? It does have your announcements, what's new, your tasks, your to-dos, and any potential alerts you might have in the system, right? This is followed by the announcements link, and any announcements that post here will also be organized underneath this link here. And then you have your course outline. Now, the course outline is the syllabus I would typically share with my students the first day, and it's something we might want to take just a quick moment to go through here. Well, a little more than a quick moment, but spend just a little bit of time going through here real quick with you to kind of summarize some of the different aspects of the course, get into some of the things you might have some questions on these first days. All right. To begin with, we do meet 4 days a week. This is a 4-day-a-week class for 5 credit hours. We meet on Monday and Wednesdays from 2 to 2:50, and Tuesdays and Thursdays from 1:40 to 2:55 p.m. And that does account for our 5 hours a week. Now, in the schedule for Zoom, I do have it scheduled from 1:40 for an hour and a half every Monday through Thursday, but we will only meet during these specific times when meeting as a synchronous class on Zoom, right? Virtual office hours, right? I do have virtual office hours, and there is a posted spreadsheet for that. If you were to click on this link here, this would take you over to a listing of, oh wait, I got to post the office hours for this semester. I will do that though. This was last semester's. I got to fix that. But you will find my office hours posted under there when that is updated. And then if you ever need to reach me by phone or email, you have my contact information given here. All right. We are going to use my math lab this semester, so I do give you some my math lab information also at the beginning of this syllabus. That would be the course ID that you're going to need for my math lab access, and you're going to need this access code, folks. My math lab is included in your fees for the course, and you don't have to pay anything for my math lab this semester. So don't pay anything for my math lab this semester. You should be able to use this access code to register for the class. All right. We are going to be using this textbook this semester, right? This is Calculus Early Transcendentals, the 3rd edition, right? Hopefully you've already picked up a copy going through Calc 1, right? I do believe the bookstore sells these in a 3-ring binder format for about $55, whereas you can get them on probably Amazon or Chegg. You can probably rent them in a hardback version for about a comparable price. And you may even be able to purchase them through Amazon at a slightly discounted price that might be used. One thing you may also be able to get, if this is your first semester in Calc 2 and you're probably just taking Calc 2, you might be able to get away with the second edition also. There's, some differences in terms of how the chapters are slightly structured, but the material and the content is very much the same, right? But we will be relying pretty heavily on the book this semester. There is a free access given through my math lab to a digital copy of the book. But my hope is that everybody, especially if you're taking the Calc 1, 2, and 3 sequence, everybody kind of maybe obtains at least a physical copy other than a digital. Those digital copies do expire, and you can't carry them on with you for the rest of your career, whereas a physical copy you can. All right, so that is the textbook we are going to be working out of. We're going to be looking at these topics from the textbook, right, which does include chapters 6, 7, 8, 10, 11, 12, and 13. You'll notice we do skip chapter 9 in there. 9 looks at differential equations, all right? We're not going to, we have a differential equations course, and we don't really have the time this semester to get into those bits of material on differential equations. But where we do spend our time is in 6, 7, and 8, 10, 11, 12, and 13. And the semester is kind of broken up into a couple of topic areas, right? 6, 7, and 8. The beginning of the semester begins with continuing with the process of integration, right? Looking at some application of integration in chapter 6, following with chapter 7 being integration techniques. When you leave Calc 1, you really only learn some of the fundamental techniques and the fundamental antiderivative rules. 7 brings out a lot more, brings out additional integration techniques. Well, careful, that's chapter 8. Whereas 7 introduces and looks at a little bit at exponential and logarithmic integration and differentiation. Kind of goes back through those exponential rules. We're going to spend just a little time in 7, but spend a lot more time here in 6 and 8, looking at application and technique. All right. 10 and 11 gets into series. 10 specifically looking at infinite series. 11 taking that further and looking at Taylor series. Right. 10 we spend quite a bit of time. Well, with 10, we spend time in all those sections, whereas 11 I really just focus in on the case for the Taylor series, folks, and Taylor polynomials. And then we finish the semester in 12 and 13. 12 and 13 are really a preparation somewhat for Calculus 3. We get into parametric curves and polar coordinate space in chapter 12 and the conic sections, whereas 13 introduces us to vectors. All right. And the beginnings of surfaces in three-dimensional space. So that's what comes up in 13. So the semester is really broken down into those 3 areas: integration and integration techniques, series in 10 and 11, and then this prep work for Calculus 3. All right? Material that you are going to be required, you are going to need a textbook copy, right? Something to be able to reference when I reference you to the textbook. You're going to need Blackboard access, right? And if you're here already, you have that Blackboard access. Everybody gets that through the college. The My Math Lab access, which we'll go through quickly here in just a moment after we run through this syllabus, but you do obtain that for free. The one thing that you may have to pay for this semester is a graphing calculator, and certainly you probably already have one of those. And if you've used one in the past, you can continue to use it in my course. I'm not going to take that away from you. And then something else that might be new to you, some of you may be familiar with Wolfram Alpha and using that to help you get through some of the calculation. What I'm going to do actually is start to introduce you to Mathematica. Wolfram Alpha is based upon the programming language known as Mathematica, written by Stephen Wolfram, right? And what he's made available to us in the cloud is what we call Wolfram Cloud Access, or access to what's known as Wolfram's programming lab in the cloud. And it is free, and it is essentially a cloud version of Mathematica, and it is going to be something that you're going to benefit from spending some time with. And it's something I'm going to try to work into the class in my demonstration to you, my lectures, and in some perhaps projects that we might work on together, and demos and things that you might be able to turn into me, right, in terms of assignments. So, but that is free, and I'll show you a little bit more about that here when we finish up with the syllabus. Methods of evaluation. Essentially, these are broken into 3 categories. You have basically weekly attendance and participation grades, which come from activities we present in our synchronous class periods and that are presented via Blackboard here. What you will notice is that one of the areas is our course content area. And when I click into that here, I'll show you after the syllabus, we go through the syllabus here, that is going to have some assignments in there that are going to fall into this grade for weekly attendance and participation, right? There are going to be some My Math Lab quizzes given this semester. All your quizzing is going to happen on My Math Lab, right? Those are going to happen on a weekly basis, right? And those will count for 15% of your final grade, right? And then you're going to have 4 exams this semester, each worth 17.5% of your final grade. About every 4 weeks, your first exam is within that the 4th week of this semester, so you can start to kind of plan for that. I don't know if it's going to be earlier or later in that week, probably later in that 4th week of this semester. We will take this this first exam, but you will have 4 exams overall throughout the semester, and they will account for 17.5% of your final grade each, for a total of 70% of your final grade. Where the 70% plus this 30% from the quizzes and the attendance and participation will be 100% of your final grade. All right? Your final exam is going to be used to replace your lowest test grade. One thing that I do point out with respect to these categories, and I do kind of break them down below here, is that there are no makeups. I don't do makeups this semester. I do put due dates on things. I may occasionally push back a due date for the class, but as soon as students in the class start submitting their work by a particular due date, that due date has come and gone. And if you miss a due date, I don't allow for makeups. But what I do, folks, is I do drop a couple of the lowest grades in each of these categories. 2 or 3 is what I'm planning for, dropping 2 or 3 of these grades, and there's going to be quite an abundance of those, I hope. So even missing a few or having a few low scores here is not going to be a big deal, right? I'm going to drop 2 or 3 of these quiz grades, right? Most likely 3, folks, of these. And then your exam grades, if you happen to miss an exam, the final exam will replace that lowest test grade. That final exam can be used to replace that missing exam grade, all right? So that is the way that I am going to break down your final grade for this semester. Now, in addition to having these assignments on your plate on a regular basis, right? I always encourage you to practice. Make sure you're always practicing, folks. The sections of the book, at the end of each section is a set of problems called practice exercises. Those are always good practice. And then on My Math Lab, I've prepared some practice for you that you can jump on and start using to practice the material this semester. All right, so that is where you can find good practice. Now, I do have students who spend their entire weeks focused on these ideas and these topics and these things that are for a grade, folks. But take note that you are going to have an abundance of these throughout the semester, attendance and participation graded items, and you're going to have a few quizzes, and they all in the end really count for 15% of the final grade, right? Each of those different categories. Whereas you want to make sure that you are adequately preparing yourself for these grades, right? These grades are where it matters. These grades are where it's at, folks. If you can't get these grades in the book, right, this is where your grade will suffer significantly, and you want to be prepared for these grades, right? And that is where the practice comes in. And just working through these items up here are certainly practice, but they are not enough practice in some cases, folks. You need to make sure that you're seeking out other sources for practice and putting in the time and the energy, right? I have a lot of students that put in too much time and energy here, right? It's called the law of diminishing returns. Sometimes to obtain 100% perfection on something, sometimes to obtain that level of 100% perfection actually requires an infinite amount of work. Now, I don't know about you. I don't have an infinite amount of time during my week. And if some of these items might require an infinite amount of work to get to that 100% level of perfection. But maybe 85% is enough to get through it, right? So that's called the law of diminishing returns. Look it up, folks. But you don't want to put it all your time and energies into just one or two items trying to maximize it. You want to make sure you spread your time out wisely throughout your practice. All right. So practice, practice, practice. There are some other notes here that you can make quick note of. Notes. One of the big notes that I've added to my syllabus is with respect to we are trying to build a learning community this semester, right? This is going to have to happen digitally. We're going to have to be online versus being in a classroom somewhere. And what's going to help us build that learning community, what's going to make us maybe a little bit more comfortable with each other in this learning community is having some ways to communicate with each other. Typing on our keyboards into the chat menu is one way to communicate, but it's probably the worst way we can communicate with each other in a math course, right? I think we're going to need to make sure that we have a way to verbally communicate with each other and also perhaps visually communicate with each other. You do want to start thinking about getting a webcam with a microphone or a webcam and a mic. That's what I happen to use. I use a web camera for my video and I use a separate decent microphone for my mic, right? But you're going to want to think about obtaining these items so that you can come and join the learning community. I think it's going to help you feel more part of the class. And I did take a summer class where I took the best practices in virtual learning environments. I took that course offered by LC over the summer, and we did meet weekly on a webcam, and it was nice to see some faces working on a common task, right? To see sometimes the concern in each other's eyes, to see sometimes the smiles, to be able to just have that camaraderie. So I am looking for you to have maybe a webcam this semester so that we can have some of that experience here as we learn this material. And it's going to be the way that we share, right? There's going to be different ways that we have to share with each other, and this is just going to make it so much easier, right? So I do encourage you to do that for me. You can read through these other items. Attendance is mandatory. If you miss, you're responsible for the material. I'll try to keep you posted on Blackboard in the week of material for what is assigned and what you have to still be working on. We'll try to make sure that we spend our class periods going through some of that so that we are prepared for those assignments that present themselves. If you have any special learning accommodations, take note. If you have any counseling concerns, or there are veteran services on campus, here's some given information in these notes. Here is the campus diversity statement. You can read through that. Here's one more policy in terms of virtual meetings. Make sure that if you have some issues with virtual meetings that we can start communicating right away, right? And then the last bit gets into cheating and plagiarism and all that good stuff, or not so good stuff, folks. The last thing you want to do is put yourself in academic jeopardy, right? Because you put your integrity in question, right? So you want to watch out for cheating and plagiarism and what the school's calling unauthorized collaboration, right? Take note. And then in the end, if there's any campus emergency, this is how we can go on with the class, right? If there's any sort of slowdown in terms of the learning environment, these are ways we can go on with the class, and this is really where we're at, folks, right? Item number 14 here on my syllabus is where we have been at since March, right? So we're meeting through Blackboard and we're sharing information that way, right? And any changes I do make to the class, I will announce in class, and I always try to be fair with students, right? Always to try to have the student point of view when I do make those changes, right? And be fair in terms of the student's point of view, right? So that is my syllabus. You can find that right here underneath the course outline, or what I might call my course outline, right? There is the Blackboard calendar right? As test dates and assignments pop up in here, right? You can see my other classes have their assignments also posted in here, but all of your classes will have their corresponding due dates show up in this calendar, which is kind of nice. Course content, that's where we want to go. Here's where I'm going to present and try to keep you on task throughout a given week, right? I think breaking it up by weeks is the best way to approach the semester, right? So we do start with week 1, right? You can see what I'll try to do with each week is open up with a set of directions to keep you focused for the week, right? You're going to want to read through the course outline, take note of the calendar, office hours, and schedule, right? Complete the course outline and quiz presented below, right? I actually do give you a quiz over the course outline below, right? Just to make sure that you've spent some time with it and that you've looked at it. I think it's 7 quick little questions. And this is one of those grades that just starts going into that attendance and participation grade, all right? You want to then spend some time focused in on the material presented in 6.1, 6.2, and 6.3 this week. Now, I don't know if we're going to get all the way through 6.3, but my goal is to get through 6.2. Yeah. So you want to look at 6.1, 6.2, and where there is quite possibly by the end of the week, we'll be in the 6.3 material. So if you can, that is what we're striving for. Right? There is some quizzing over the week that's going to happen. Those are our My Math Lab quizzes, and what the first week's quiz is over is up through 6.2 material. So as long as we get through 6.2, we're going to be good for the quiz. All right? There are going to be some lecture videos presented below. I still got to prep up the first one for you folks. We probably won't be getting back till Tuesday, so you might not see that until Monday sometime, that lecture video appear. All right? But it would appear down below here, right, in this week 1 material. And I do have quite a few lecture videos already prepared. If you go over to YouTube videos, you'll see this course informational video will also be presented under here, but you can see I have lecture videos for 10, 11, 12, and 13 already. So really all I have to prepare for is 6, 7, and 8. And I will have lectures for the semester. All right. But right now I'm organizing those underneath the weeks. All right. You'll see that first lecture video for chapter 6 material appear down below. And then there's the My Math Lab quiz. Make sure you go out and you get that taken care of before the due dates. And then any other assignments that have due dates will be for this week, presented during this week, will be presented down below. And that you'll take note, there are 3 of them already in place. All right. There is this course outline quiz. Right. There is this textbook assignment quiz, or assignment, which is really just a short essay, I should say. Right, where I do give you some direction in that essay. And it's related to your textbook. I do strongly feel that your textbook is your best friend in this course. It's your first and last resource. All right. I'm not going to take it away from you. You need to become familiar with it, right, as a calculus student. All right. If you're going to continue your career in mathematics or in these STEM fields, you're going to have to be working with these textbooks physically, right? So you're going to want to become familiar with this one, all right? So I do give you that textbook assignment, and then I give you an assignment over academic integrity, folks. All right. This assignment on academic integrity, right, does require you to go in and look at this PDF. Now, this document looks at the academic integrity and the fundamental values related to academic integrity. You can scroll down here. What I would like you to do to begin with, it does start off a little introduction, some quotes, gets into just introduces what's known as the International Center of for Academic Integrity. It does list out all those organizations that endorse these ideas, folks, and you can read through all of that, right? But then later on down here around page 16, it gets into what is academic integrity, why is it important, and then identifies the fundamental values. So you can read really through this is what I would want you to spend your time with, and that short essay as you spend your time with. It looks at those ideas, these ideas here, and then introduces those fundamental values: honesty, trust, fairness, respect, and then responsibility, and then lastly, courage. Courage is the foundation. You have to have courage to be sometimes integrable in the world around us. All right. So I as noted back here, right, I do have these 2 assignments to kind of start off the semester with. One to kind of, one to make sure that you spend a little time with the course outline, and you've taken the time to just kind of look at that. Second of all, that you become familiar with the book, folks. One of the big things is note, we have 16 and a half weeks, right, to cover these sections out of the book, to cover quite a few sections out of the book. Our calendar is rather rigorous, so you're going to want to really take note of that as we start off here, and what is going to be expected of us this semester out of the book in terms of all this material, right? And then one of the things we want to make sure that we keep conscious of here is we are going to be, like I said, we're in a virtual learning environment. We're going to be in a state of collaboration with one another at times, and we want to be really careful that we don't put our academic integrity in question, right? So this is just a couple short essays to get us thinking in the right direction for the start of this semester. I will add to this as we meet throughout the week here. We're going to meet for my plan. This first week is 4 days, right, for our first 5 hours. As the semester goes along and we see kind of how dependent or independent we are on a given day, we may or may not meet every class period or every day for a given week, and just depending upon what we have going on. In terms of how quickly are we moving through the material, are we ahead, are we behind, what do we need to do, right? So that is why you do see it just kind of broken up week by week, and I don't have week 2 ready yet. It is coming, but we got to look at what happens here in week 1, right? So folks, you need to check back often. You do need to check back often here, right? Some other quick things. I do use my math lab. If I just go back over to semester links, it's mymathlab.com. I also do put the link on the Blackboard page. That will take you to mymathlab.com. Right. What you're going to want to do is register as a new student. Since you're given a new course access code, you're going to want to make sure, since you're given a new access code here in the payment system, you first of all don't want to pay any money for this. Don't get out your credit card for any of this. You don't need a credit card. All you need is that access code back here on the course outline. Right? This is your access code. Along with the access code, you're also going to be asked for this course ID. Right? When first thing you go to register, it's going to come up and ask for that course ID, and you're going to want to put that in there. All right? Continue standard registration process, or you may already be registered, right? And you would just use your old account. And then the third page in, it should ask you for that course, that access code. And you can just copy and paste it over here from my outline. All right? Once you're in my math lab, go back to mymathlab.com. Go ahead and sign in using your account, and what you should see is this course, MATH172, Calculus 2, Fall 2020. All right. If you click on that course, it'll bring you into the home page for this course on the My Math Lab window here. I don't use much in this course, folks. What I use is the assignments. All my stuff is on Blackboard. All right. All I do here is give you a little quizzing and some more practice out here on my math lab. Right. If we click on the assignments, you will see that I give you practice problems. These are just practice homeworks from the sections 6-1, 6-2, 6-3, 6-4, all the way out for the rest of the semester. And then I have my weekly quizzes. Now, I don't have all the weekly quizzes planned out again because we have to see how far we get. Right? I know I'm not going to get all the way through 6-3 this week. I'm not going to probably try to push that. So I did leave it out of week 1 quiz, but it will appear in the week 2 quiz for certain. All right, that's where we're going to begin. So you will see that week 2 quiz slowly appear as I gain a little more confidence in what we're going to complete by the end of next week. All right. So, folks, this is my my math lab. This is once you sign in and you click on that class button and it brings you to this page. Assignments is where it's at. All right. That's where you're going to spend your time. You may also be interested in the ebook, though. Here's the electronic book. If we go ahead and open that up. Let's see here. We're going to start the semester in Chapter 6. Chapter 6. Let's get this time open. Is on, begins on page 403. So if we go up here and we type in page 403, this should take us to the first page of Chapter 6. Yes, it does, right? If I hold this up here, you will see the first page of Chapter 6 on the ebook is exactly identical, like the first page here out of the textbook. They're identical, all right? And what you do want to take note on, if we page in, if you're looking for good practice out of the book, it is the practice exercises at the end of each section, right? If I page in here to section 6.1, practice exercises. Now you are going to want to spend a little time reviewing through the chapter, looking at the chapter, reading the chapter, folks. I'm not going to tell you every day to read a chapter. That is what that first direction says. Become familiar with chapter 6.1 material. Right? Sit down with the book, right? And read through it. All right. I am going to give you some lecture video, but my lecture videos are, they are what they are, right? And they may not be everything you need. All right. But once you get into the sections back here, the exercises, section 6.1 exercises, they do have the getting started problems. You can spend time there if you feel the need. But really what you want to begin with are your practice exercises. The odd numbered problems have their answers in the back of the book. And you want to work through these practice exercises. And there's usually, they number up into the 50s or 60s typically. Let's see here how far these go. Oh, to about 63. And then there is this category known as exploration and challenges. If you're looking for that challenge, those are those problems, folks. But, this is once you exhaust all the other practice exercises and all the sections you should be studying, right? Maybe come in and do some of these explorations, but don't spend too much time with the explorations and challenges, right, in your practice. And again, it's the law of diminishing returns here, folks. Use your time wisely. All right. So that is the ebook that is available also here through my math lab. Right. The grade book on here is only going to report the quiz grades and the quiz average. And then what I have to do, folks, is I have to physically take the quiz average from here and manually import it into the Blackboard grade book. And your grades are going to really be reported through Blackboard. Right. Your final grade and all that. All right. So that is my math lab. Again, I do have my YouTube channel. That's where we're at. That's where you found this video. I don't yet have a dedicated YouTube channel name. I need more subscribers and likes. So like and subscribe, right? But if we click into that this is my YouTube channel. I call it PiJamaMath. Pi on the play on the number pi, and then you put that word with the word JAMA. You get something close to pajama, right? What has become a recent fashion statement as we sit here and learn in the virtual realm, right? Put on a comfortable pair of pants and sit down with me to learn some math, right? That's what we're looking at here, right? I like funny sounding names, right? PiJamaMath, that's kind of funny sounding, right? But this is my YouTube channel, and I do post all my videos here. You can see I've gotten a couple of videos up in the last few days, and I do have all my videos from last semester here for my Calc 2 and 3 students and my college algebra students, but I have something like over 60 videos posted. All right. And my plan is to add to that, to actually build a Calc 2 and Calc 3 collection. About halfway through this semester, I should have that. All right. I may even update some of the older videos that I have. I've gotten a little more recent tech. I got a green screen. I'm using my my broadcasting software just like a Twitch gamer might, but I'm using it here to teach class. I might try to get my face in a little bit more of these videos. And I'm also going to try to get out some demos for us, folks. Like I said, one of the last places I want to be able to work with you this semester is in WOLFRAM Programming Lab. Right? If I go there, essentially this is Mathematica in the cloud, free of charge. Right? When you click on that, or go to lab.wolframcloud.com, it will bring you to the WOLFRAM Programming Lab page. And I already have an account, and I can sign in. And actually, I have a copy of Mathematica on my computer here now. You might see me bring up Mathematica at times just to be able to quickly graph things for you and accurately graph things for you this semester. And use it in some quick calculations throughout the semester. But if you're looking for something similar but don't want to have to pay the cost that I'm paying, you can use this, the WOLFRAM Cloud. Right? You can sign up for a basic plan. It's email address, pretty standard sign-up process. And then once signed up, you can just sign in and you have something that behaves very similar to Mathematica, but online. Now, what is Mathematica? Again, Mathematica is a mathematical programming language. It was developed by Stephen Wolfram something over 30 years ago, and it has been used widely at university and in industry. You're going to find, if you're going to go off in the study in the STEM fields, that you may be at times asked to do some mathematical programming, and you're going to have to find something to turn to. And Mathematica is what a lot of people turn to. Right? So one of the things I hope to do this semester is to begin introducing you to the mathematical programming language known as Mathematica. I started learning it at the beginning of the spring semester. It's what am I, 8 months in, right? And I've become rather proficient in it within those 8 months. I was rather proficient in it within what was at the start of COVID, mid-March, right? I really used it to help carry me through. And you can even see, if you went back into my YouTube channel, you would see a couple of old demos that I tried to put together on it. All right. So it's something that's easy to learn too, and it's very powerful. So, you know, if you're used to going out to WOLFRAM Alpha every now and again, you know, hey, why don't you come over to the WOLFRAM Cloud and Programming Lab, and let's actually take this, let's take this a step further and start to prepare you for that time at university, all right, and that time in industry that you're hopefully heading off towards. All right, so we are going to work with this semester. We might even use some class time to do some introductory demos and some demonstration and work with one another, collaboration with one another. All right, but that's the WOLFRAM Programming Cloud. And if I was just to click in something in here, do I have a Calc 2, something Calc 2 related? Let me see here. I do a lot of things on here. You'll see all my graphical illustrations I do on here, like, you know, my YouTube page, that Kepler ellipse, right? I wrote a program that builds that Kepler ellipse, right? That's the power of the programming lab. Now, that's not class related. Let's see here. Area and volume, maybe. Let's see here. No, that's not mine. That's somebody else's. Oh, here we go. This is the idea we come from, integration and Riemann sums. Right? This is an illustration of a left, right, and a midpoint Riemann sum. And this is a program, right, that allows me to actually input any function into it, right, and set up the number of subintervals I want, and the region over which I want to calculate this Riemann sum, the bounds of integration, we might say, and it'll calculate the Riemann sum calculation, right, for the net area trapped under this curve, right? And it's rather powerful. It does it for a lot of different functions. If I was to go in there and say, let's do x cubed plus 2x, right? And let's do this for 20 subintervals over the interval from 0 to 2. And I just input that code into WOLFRAM, right? It draws the illustration of that curve, right? That functional curve from 0 to 2. It shows me the left, the midpoint, and the right Riemann sums as these different rectangular regions, and sums them up for me, giving me these approximations of that net area, and then it also calculates that exact net area. All right? We can see the right Riemann sum over approximate it. That's the blue graph. Uses the right bound. The left under approximates it. That's the red graph, or the red boxes. All right? And then the midpoint, that would be what's trapped in the green and the red. Right? What would be in the green boxes, which is behind the red here. All right? That's using the midpoint Riemann sum. But it was just a quick little function. All right? Quick little program. And then I can take that higher into some higher thought and theory. All right. This is actually prepared it into some Calc 3 ideas, folks. But it's programming within this I did all this on a free program on the computer. That's used widely, right? So we're going to start learning that this semester. And then lastly, we are going to be working in Zoom, folks. Well, I already, I think, mentioned that. I'm going to send you by email a Zoom invitation. It should include this URL here, right? If we were to put that URL in to a computer interface, it would actually launch Zoom. Right? You could either, if this is the first time running it, you would download and run Zoom. Or if you've already launched it, it's actually asking me to go ahead and launch, and I could go ahead and launch. Right? And when you launch, it may ask you along the way for your meeting ID, which would be this number here that I'm going to share with you by email. And it's going to may ask you for the passcode, and this would be your passcode that I would share with you by email. Right? If you're just, if you haven't gotten a webcam yet, or a microphone, webcam and a mic, there are ways of actually dialing in with your phone, right? Where you would need this noted meeting ID and passcode. Again, I'll send all that out to you on a email here, folks. Right? So, yes. I think that is it for the start of the semester here. I look forward to working with all you this semester. If you're watching this video after the fact, I'm happy to have met you all. And I hope that you're all really excited for this semester. We do have a small class. There's only, I think right now, 7 of us in here. So we do have a rather small class, which makes it a rather personal class. Right? And I hope that we can obtain that this semester. I know if you've talked to some students that have had me in the past up in the calculus sequences, they might tell you that you're in for a treat, and that would be true, right? If this is your first time in one of my classes, you might... I hope you realize that I'm here to help, number one, but I'm also here to have a good time and to make sure that we have a positive learning experience, all right? And we can have a good time here, folks. It's not all seriousness. I hope to get to know all you this semester. Again, check out my YouTube channel, like and subscribe. It's a lot of my videos go up there right away versus sometimes it takes me a while to get it all loaded up to Blackboard, right? And I think that with that said, in about 45 minutes in, I'll also go through some things the first days of class. If you have any questions, let me know there. But I think this gets you started for the semester. And I hope to all see you on Monday afternoon, 2 o'clock. See y'all then.